core agenda of this.
All right, guys, thanks everyone for the introduction. So let's start our session for today. Please let me know if you are able to view my screen. So you can raise your hands if you have any question, or even you can post it in the chat. So during the session, I'll be continuously monitoring the chats. So if you want, you can directly ping me one to one in the chat, or even you can raise your hand. So I will let you unmute and you can speak and ask your question. Okay, so today we will be discussing about Oracle integration. So this will be a demo session. So doesn't mean that I will not be covering much of the details. So it will be a kind of mix of theory plus practical. So we will have a short lab in this session as well. Okay, so this is my profile. So I'm Oracle Ace, blogger, YouTuber, 10 plus years of experience, worked on multiple technologies. I'm a cloud certified. I've trained more than 500 trainees and 10 plus corporate clients. And I have done few more certification these after 2023 and 2024. So so the list will be the entire page would be full. So I just highlighted most few of them. So today we'll be discussing what is cloud overview concepts, what are the service models that we have in cloud. So what is integration cloud and the overview of the integration cloud, integration scenarios, which all scenarios that come across during whenever we use OIC and why we use OIC, and we will go and we will see the console walkthrough and OCI fundamentals. So before learning OIC, we should also know the OCI, which is Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. So everything is based out on this OCI. That's a, you can say it's a big umbrella in which all other products comes. So we also be discussing about this OCI, and we will see how to create your Oracle integration instance so that you can create your integration, you can run and monitor. So everything we can see in here. Okay, and we will see what are the navigations that we have in OCI, OIC. Okay, so let's talk about the traditional architecture before the cloud word. So what happened? So normally companies or candidates used to have their own setup in the home on garage space. And after that, so once technology is expanded, so they moved into the office. So they bought a data center, so they placed their servers. The servers would be like the compute server. So when I say compute, you can thought compute just like your computer system. So like we have our desktop system. In that we have monitor, we have mouse, we have keyboard, and we have CPU, the cabinet. In the CPU, we have multiple things. So what we have in CPU, we have our processor, we have the memory, and we have the space, and also we have a network card. Okay, so like you can have Wi-Fi, or even if we use the LAN cable. So those were the networking devices that we use in our computers. Similar to that, when companies use this kind of thing, so that was called traditional architecture. They used to put all these servers into some space. We call it as data center. Okay, so you must have seen few pictures also for the data center. So those are the big buildings having all those servers equipped with all the power supplies and air conditioning so that those machines function properly. So what was the problem with the traditional architecture? So if anyone can of you tell just a brief thing, but you can think like what is the problem with this architecture that we buy compute, we buy, let's say we buy our computer system. So we have 10 computer systems. So what could be the problem with that approach? You can put it in the chat if you want.
Guys, let's have this as an interactive session, okay? Don't hesitate to speak, okay? There's nothing right or wrong here. Don't just keep quiet, okay? Whatever you have an idea about this, you just speak out. None of you? Even the experienced? Senthil, Sachin.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
So the question is like, if we have traditional architecture, that mean in which we put our servers, our storage devices, our compute devices, our network devices in data center, okay, like in our office. So what could be the problems? Okay, so Pranay
So
is
in
saying
case
to
of the disaster management will be the issues in case of worst scenarios.
correct, correct. So costly, yeah, that's true. So those kind of scenarios can be costly. So I will tell you like why those things are costly. Not easily scalable. Very good.
Somebody,
Okay.
Sachin is asking, what is this? Is it consultant role?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to know because I am a PLSQL developer
Uh-huh.
and I'm looking for a consultant kind of opportunities. Means it is a consultant kind of things or something different role. It is
No, what do you mean by consultant role?
consultant roles means like Oracle Fusion consultant,
Uh-huh.
Oracle Fusion HCM consultant like that.
Yeah, yeah, correct. That's the kind of consultant role. So when you learn OIC, so you can be a consultant, you can be a lead, you can be an architect. Okay, so it's a wide era of the entire Oracle technologies. Okay, according to your skills, according to your experience, you can be fit in any role.
So, sir, am I suitable in these tools and technologies? Because as
Exactly.
I'm a yeah.
Yes, yes. That's a very good thing that you have a knowledge of PL SQL, SQL.
Mm.
So when I show you the OIC, you will see that in that you can write your own SQL queries.
Okay.
It's good to have SQL and PL SQL knowledge in OIC. As soon as we go through the session in later days, you will see that it will be a like a good thing that you already have the knowledge of SQL and PL SQL.
Yeah, that
Okay,
is a
sir.
very good advantage.
All right. So guys, these are the problems for your traditional architecture. So first of all is that you have to pay for the rent of the data center because you have to put your all those machine in some space. So you have to rent it out. So rent can be very huge because those are like big buildings with power supply backup and cooling and maintenance things. Okay, and you have to pay for the power supply, cooling and maintenance. Okay, so because you own those machine, you own those devices. Okay, so you have to take care of that. Maintenance is the aspect in that. So if something like if your device is not working, you have to manually go and replace it. And adding and replacing the hardware takes time. So suppose today I'm like, let's take a common example. Like I have a one system in which I have put one my processor, which is i3, Intel i3 processor. I have like 8 GB of RAM and I have 500 GB of storage, correct? So now tomorrow, like my requirement increases. So now I want to scale it. So what happens? So what should I do? So first of all, I have to go to the market. I have to buy a new RAM. I want to expand it from 8 gig to 16 gig. And before that, I need to check whether can I scale it or not. Because in our system, in our old system, so there is only one slot for the RAM. So what you need to do in that case, you have to pull out that 8 GB of RAM and you have to buy a 16 GB of RAM and then place it there. So now with this particular approach, the challenge is scaling is limited. So why? Suppose if I don't have like multiple slot, so I cannot expand it. Or even if my motherboard supports or not, that I need to check. Some motherboards, some systems only supports expanding up to, for example, 24 GB. But if I need more than that, so what should happen? So I need to replace the entire system. Okay, so that's the problem with your traditional architecture, that scaling is limited. And even if you buy it, so today your requirement was there that you have to have this 32 GB of RAM. After some time, your requirement, and even you don't know that I need that much storage. You cannot scale down. You already paid for it. Okay, and the entire process. So we are talking only for just our system, our computer system, which is very small. But when we go for a large scale enterprises, so those are like many devices, big devices, just like mainframes. Okay, so changing the hardware, replacing the hardware is not that easy. So first you have to find the supplier, you have to place the order, it will take some time. The entire process could also take more than a month. Okay, so that was a problem with the traditional architecture. All right, and we have to hire 24 by 7 team to monitor the infrastructure. I cannot bear that my devices, my network devices are down for some days. So my business will like, so that could suffer. Okay, and how to deal with the disaster? Suppose there is a earthquake, power shutdown, fire. So how to deal with those kind of scenarios? So who will take care of my devices in the data center? Or can we externalize this? Yeah, we can externalize, but what is the cost? So all these factors we have to consider. So because of all these, so there was a need of a new technology. So what was the new technology? The technology was cloud computing. So instead of buying devices, instead of procuring the devices, so now what we are doing, we are accessing everything over the internet. We call it as cloud computing. So now here you can see applications, databases, servers, everything is on cloud. So can anyone give me example of cloud computing in our real days? Any example, like this can be a cloud computing example. So cloud computing doesn't mean that we have to buy servers online. So we can buy applications, we can buy a database, we can buy storage. So all these are examples of cloud. So any example in your real scenario, day-to-day life. Microsoft's 365, that's a complete suite of all the other application, the email, OneDrive, Teams. That's a good example. Anyone else, please? Google Drive. We every day we use Google Drive, Google Photos. We upload our photos to the internet in that scenario. So what are those? Those things are actually cloud computing applications. So now I don't have to buy a external hard disk to store my images, my files, my documents. So what I can do, I can directly go and purchase some space like 100 gig of space in Google Drive. Now I can use it to place my files, important data. And now you see, you don't have to fill some form. You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to go to some shop. Even if you are in the night, in the 1 a.m., 2 a.m., you can directly go, you log in, you must have the internet. Because here we can see that all services are accessed over the internet. So if you have internet connectivity, you can access those services, applications, databases, servers. Okay, so now in the night, like in 2 a.m., so you can go and buy your storage in Google Drive and you can place your files there. So that's the ease of cloud computing. With cloud computing, everything now is a service and it's accessible over the internet. And like all of us are from like a engineering background, so we must have gone through this cloud computing in our scenarios, correct? So these are the few examples: Microsoft 365, Google. Google is one of the supplier, a vendor in cloud computing. Amazon. We always hear from others like AWS. So those are what? Those are cloud computing vendors providing services over the internet. Okay, so now if I go back and if now we compare with the traditional architecture. So first was the pay for the data rent, the rent for the data center. So have we ever paid any rent for buying the data center for Google? No, correct? So have we ever paid for power supply, cooling, maintenance? No. So it's a vendor's responsibility to take care of all those things. So you are just using the service, maintenance, everything that relies on the vendor. So have you ever replaced Google Drive's hardware? Or even we don't know like what kind of hardware they are using. So are they based out of like Windows operating system, Mac, Linux? We don't know. So those things are abstracted from us. So we are just accessing the service. So earlier scaling was limited. So now, so today I bought like 100 GB of storage. So tomorrow I don't need that. So what I can do? I can downgrade that. I can come back to 50 GB. Or if I need more than that, I can buy more storage. So now there is flexibility of scaling of your devices, your services. Okay, and how to deal with disaster. So whenever we buy service from cloud vendor, so these are written into their agreements that they will take care of all your data. Security is not the aspect of vendor. Security should be taken care by you because you have your username, you have your password. If you give your username and password to someone, they steal your data. So that's not the responsibility of cloud vendor. Security is your aspect from your side. But if you don't share it and if your data gets lost, in that case, the responsibility relies on the cloud vendor. And that's why we call it's a shared security model. So in cloud, we call it as shared security model. So security is shared. You have to take care of your own data. They will take care of the devices. Okay. And now can we externalize all this? Yeah, we already had externalized all this because our data remains with the cloud vendor. So now do you have a brief idea of what is cloud computing? Any question in this part? Okay, let me give you another example. So suppose I am a student. Okay, so I am running into my summer training. So for that, I need one system. Okay, but I need the system only for like 2-3 months. So I need that for accessing like Word, PowerPoint, Excel. So that was my basic requirement of using those applications. So what should I do? So I could have purchased one laptop. Okay, but the constraint is that I need only for few months, like 2-3 months. So I can buy like 40K laptop. After that, that will be of like no use if I don't want to use it later. So what is the alternative for that? So alternative is I can purchase a system, I can rent it out over the cloud. So with the advent of cloud computing, so you can rent out systems also. We call it as virtual machines. So you can procure a Windows system, you can procure a Mac system, you can procure a Linux. So you have a wide range of options with cloud computing. All right. So cloud computing is nothing but whenever you access the services over the internet, we call it as cloud computing. Okay, so what are the things that we have in cloud computing? So first is storage. So you can purchase the storage space. You have the network. So vendors also provide the networking facilities. The VPNs. VPN is a very good example of cloud computing. So that's the part of network domain, virtual private network. Compute just like your computer system, you want to rent it out. Okay, and the thing is that you only pay for what you use. Okay, so whatever you use, you have to pay for that. How much you use, you have to pay only for that. Okay, so we call it as pay per model, pay per uses model. Okay, and companies which provide there, we call it as cloud providers. So what are the example? Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Oracle, Alibaba. So those are the examples of your cloud providers. Okay, so they provide compute power like Linux or web applications, storage in which you can store your files, your database, networkings like the VPNs. So these are the things which we get from cloud computing. All right. So these are the characteristics of your cloud computing. So first is on-demand service. That means no human intervention is required to get the resource. You don't have to go somewhere. You don't have to sign a form, get it signed, approved. It's a self-service. You need storage, go ahead, access the internet, buy it, and use it. Network access from anywhere, whether you are in US, India, China, anywhere in the world. You just need the connectivity, internet connectivity to rent out those resources. Resource pooling, so which means that it provides shared access to the customers. So in the backend, they will be having the devices. So it doesn't mean that they have one computer system and they will rent it out to you entirely. That can be a big system. So they chunk it out. They give a share of that machine to use with the use of resource pooling. That's a shared access to you. But doesn't mean that they are giving shared access. Your data can be like impacted, like no one can use it. So they have implemented strategies, algorithms, so that your data is safe and secure. All right. A rapid elasticity, that as soon as you need it, you request for it and you will get it. Elasticity is the key. And measure services, that mean whatever you are using, you have to pay for that. Pay only for what you consume. Pay per uses model. All right. So cloud characteristics, on-demand service, broad network access, resource pooling, rapid elasticity, and measure service. Any question in this one? All right. And what are the benefits of the cloud? Why cloud? Why we use cloud? So first of all, it's highly scalable. We can scale up, we can scale down with these. More flexible. So now we are more flexible. Doesn't mean that it's a location constraint. Wherever you are sitting, you can access it. Just need the internet connectivity. Reduce infrastructure cost. So how the cost is reduced? Because we are paying only for what we consume. I need like 2 GB of the storage. I will rent only 2 GB. I will not pay for like 100 GB of the storage. If I buy, for example, if I buy external hard disk, okay, so if I bought it for like 5K, even if I don't use it, so I have to bear the cost for that. But now in cloud, whatever you use, you have to pay for that. So that's how the infrastructure cost would be reduced. Okay, so higher security. So data is highly secure. So they have implemented all the algorithm, everything. Or even in their own data center, they have implemented physical security. It's not only the virtual security, physical security is also there. They have fences in their data center. They have biometrics. No one can access the data center. Unauthorized access is not granted, even to their employees. So those devices, they reside in data center, they are highly secure. So not only over the internet, but also physically. So physical security is also there. And it's the duty of your cloud vendor to maintain all these. Okay, backup and disaster recovery. So they have implemented strategies, backups, cloning of your devices, copies, creating the copies. So that's the responsibility again of cloud vendor to have it. So you can like put your own these kind of backup strategy, disaster recovery strategies in your whenever you use these OCI things. But again, it's a responsibility of cloud vendor to give you at least like some like mind of safety that yeah, your data is secure. It's a disaster recoverable. Okay, and no location constraints. Anywhere you are sitting, you just need the internet connectivity to access the services. So these are the things, these are the benefits of your cloud computing. So when we work with cloud, so here we come across service models. So what are the service models? So we have these service model, infrastructure as a service. So whenever we rent network, storage, and compute servers. So when I say compute, so you always thought of your processor, your RAM, and also your storage, like your hard disk. So we call it as compute machine also. Okay. So infrastructure as a service, that means whenever you are renting out all these things, servers, networking devices, storage devices. So we call it as IaaS, infrastructure as a service. And then we have, if you want to rent it out, operating system or databases. So that's the part of platform as a service, PaaS. Okay, so whenever you want to rent out operating system, you want to rent out some coding environment. Okay, like few of you are already using Python. So for that, you need some system. For Java, we need JRE, Java Runtime Engine. We need JVM, Java Virtual Machine. So those are the environments that we need whenever we work with those languages. Okay, and whenever we rent out all those things, we are actually using platform as a service, PaaS. So with platform as a service, so We can rent out operating system, we can rent out databases. And then we have SaaS, software as a service. So whenever we access application, we rent applications. So we are actually using software as a service. Okay, so example of SaaS is Gmail. Gmail is a service we are accessing over the cloud for emailing. Gmail is a SaaS. Those who have knowledge or who have worked with on Oracle Fusion, so cloud is a SaaS. Oracle Fusion Cloud is a SaaS. So now can anyone tell me like what is OIC from these three options? Is it infrastructure, PaaS, or a software as a service? Any wild guesses? There is nothing right or wrong, so you can just put it in the chat, or even you can unmute yourself and you can speak. So guys, whenever you answers, so what happens basically if your answer is incorrect, you will note that. So it fits in your mind. So just listening to the conversation will not help because first time if you don't answer, you don't know that I am incorrect. But when you answers, is it incorrect? And next time you will not repeat the same mistake. Otherwise, you will be completely listening to me and you will forget. It's a human tendency to forget. Okay. I request everyone if you can put it in a chat, whether it's a SaaS or PaaS or IAS. So please don't Google it. Okay. It's not a competition. Give a wild guess. Okay. Others, please. So if you hesitate, so you can like DM me, like ping one to one to me. So OIC, the question is OIC is what type of platform, what type of service it is. Okay, so let me give you the answer. So it's a PaaS, platform as a service. So OIC is a PaaS environment. Okay, so now let's make it clear why. So these are the differences between IaaS, PaaS, and DBAS, which is a database as a service. So this is the traditional architecture in which these are the things managed by you. So you have to manage networking devices, storage, and servers, virtualization. So in cloud computing, virtualization is the backbone. So only because of virtualization, we are now able to access all these services. So virtualization is the backbone of your cloud computing. In traditional architecture, in normal, so operating system, you have to install operating system, you have to own it, you have to maintain it. Middleware, so middleware, like if you are using two systems, so what type of software you use to connect those are called middleware. Runtime, like for Java, we need JRE, JVM. For Python, you may need other environments. So those are called runtimes. database. In traditional architecture, we maintain all these things by us, and data is the application, we maintain it. So now with IaaS, so what happens that networking, storage, server, and virtualization. So those are managed by the vendor. The physical devices are managed by the vendor. So what you manage, you can decide which type of operating system you will need, what type of middleware you need, what type of runtime you need. You want to install database on that device, on that machine, or you want to install some web application. And then yes, data and application. So these are managed by you. But networking devices, storage, servers, and virtualizations. So this is managed by the vendor only. All right. So when we use PaaS, so what happens? So operating system, middleware, and runtime. So those things are managed by a vendor only. So now whenever we use OIC, we don't know what is the background, what type of operating system they are using, what type of runtime they are using, what is the capacity of the system that's in the background. Is it a 8 GB or 16 GB? What type of server it is, what type of processor it is, we don't know. So what we are concerned is we are concerned about database, data, and application. Okay, that's a PaaS platform. So DB as a service, that means whenever we use database as a service, we call it as DBAS. And SaaS, in which the same thing, even the application is like given as a service. So you have the control over the data only. Okay, so now till now what we have learned, so we have seen what is cloud computing, what are the various service models that we have in cloud. So now let's see what is OIC, Oracle integration. It's a PaaS platform. It's a PaaS service. Okay, so why we need that? So this is the very common example that we have two systems. So we have ServiceNow Cloud, Service Cloud. We call it as Right Now Cloud. And then we have another system like sales or B2B service we have. So whenever we create, we have an organization. So what I need that. So for that organization, account should be created in my customer cloud or B2B service. So in between, I need to place something which will listen for the creation of organization in this one and automatically creates the account in the other system. So this middleware will be my integration. All right. So this is the screenshot of your OIC, the latest version of OIC, which is Gen 3. So that's the third generation of OIC. So the middleware is called OIC, which will listen from the left side and then create something or pushes something to the right side. Okay, so these are the various scenarios that we can use OIC. So if you want to connect your system to some CRM, you want to read some data from the database, you want to read few files from the legacy system, you want to read the data from ERP, internal application or business processes. For all those things, what you can do, you can use as a middleware, you can use integration cloud service. So there are like other integration platforms also, but cloud in Oracle, that's the very common, and then it's a very popular OIC, and it supports our all other Oracle cloud objects. So we have a good integration between all those products from Oracle. Okay, and even we have like pre-built integrations. You don't have to create it from scratch. Okay, and as soon as we go in deep into the topics, you will know like what are those pre-built integrations. Okay, but whenever you want to connect to these kind of system, what you can use OIC. So these are the things that OIC provides. It provides integration service. You can create new integrations. Visual Builder. Visual Builder is the service which lets you create web application, mobile applications. OPA, or we call it as PCS, Platform Cloud Service, Process Cloud Service. So it provides just like a workflow engine to you. You can create your own workflows. So OIC also provides file servers and B2B, business to business. So you can process B2B documents in OIC. So these are the services which OIC provides. So integration is nothing but it's a fundamental for your business development. So it's a screenshot from OIC. These are the actions or the things that we have in OIC. So you can use it. You can construct a flow in OIC. Okay, so for example, this example in which it's a schedule integration. Schedule integration means that it will run on some particular schedule like daily, hourly, every minute. So we can define a schedule. So after that, we are here assigning some variables. Variable will hold the data. So just like a programming language, variable is nothing but it's a storage space. Like if you have like a 1, 2, 3, that's a literal, numeric literal number. So you can define a variable of type number, correct? So just like that. So those who are from PL SQL background, they know. So variables in that we store some data. Similar to that we have in OIC. It's a scope. Here we will like write some logic. And you can see it's a for each loop. So these are programming constructs that we use in OIC. You can send emails also. For email, we have this activity, we call it as notification activity. So you can send out emails. So integration, you have to create your integration from your side. There are various patterns that we have integration, schedule integration, app driven integration, or pub sub model like publish subscribe model. Okay, so these are the few scenarios or use cases. So like you are using Oracle Fusion Cloud. So now you want to process the bank payment data. For that you use OIC. So you want invoice processing from FTP to Fusion. Like you have a file which has the invoice data. So now from that file you want to create invoices in Fusion. So what you can use, you can OIC for that. So we have another system called Salesforce. So whenever opportunity creates in Salesforce, we want to move it to downstream application. So you can automate the ticket automation, like whenever there is any error, so you can raise a tickets. FBDI. So FBDI is a thing in Fusion in which you can, it's Excel kind of upload in which you can put the data and you upload it to Fusion. So it can create invoices, it can create suppliers. So we have n number of FBDI files. So you can automate that. That means that you can directly put the data and then use the OIC to directly create those objects like supplier object, invoice object, and other things. So you can generate custom sequences for AP invoices. And just like I told, like we can have the storage space in OCI. There are multiple storages options we have. We have object storage, we have file storage. Okay, so object storage is similar to what we have in Google Drive or OneDrive. Okay, in OCI we call it as object storage. So for example, you have some other cloud application. So now you want to sync the data from that application to your database. That means SaaS to PaaS. Okay, so for that you can use OIC. Submitting of Oracle Fusion Standard ESS jobs. So just like those who have worked with our EBS, we have jobs. So now if you want to automate that, so submission of those kind of jobs can also be automated with the OIC. All right, so like here I have just listed out these use cases. So in our program, in our course, so we will go through each of them. Okay, so now let's go through the cloud console walkthrough and we will go through few OCI fundamentals because we need to know what is OCI, what are the fundamental building blocks for OCI. So first of all, in OCI, so let me show you the cloud console.
Pradeep, sorry to interrupt you.
Yes, please.
Do you want to just have a few minutes for any questions in the middle of the session? Otherwise, we can
Yeah,
continue.
sure.
So,
Anyone,
yeah,
please.
anyone, please. Okay. If you have any doubts, like what is exactly OIC, what is exactly OCI, just let's spend few minutes before we continue with the session. Anyone of you? Are we good so far?
Yes, we are good.
If you have a good, then we'll have some questions to you guys, okay? Everyone is good? Okay, it looks like everyone is happy.
Yeah, thanks.
Sorry.
So guys, this is what we have cloud console. Okay. So the URL is cloud.oracle.com. Okay. And then you see region equal to US Ashburn 1. So in OCI, so OCI, we have data centers across the world. Okay. So there are like various data centers that we have. Okay. So we call it as regions. We call it as regions. So you can search for OCI regions. So here, guys, you can see that it's a cloud global footprint. All right. So there are various type of data centers we have. We have commercial data centers. We have government data center, and sometimes we have dedicated regions also. So it's a global footprint of OCI. So in India, so here, let me give you another image which shows regions in India. That's very. So here you can see that in India, we have Mumbai and Hyderabad. Okay, so these are the two regions that we have in India. So in the US, we have Ashburn, we have Phoenix, San Jose, Chicago, Toronto, Montreal, and all others. So these are the regions that we have in cloud. So region is nothing, but it's a geographical area. Mumbai is one area, Hyderabad is another in India. Okay, so now you can Google it out, regions and availability domains. So here we can see the listing of all the regions. We have Australia, East, Sydney, Southeast, and here we can see in US West, we have Phoenix region, we have San Jose, Chicago, Ashburn. So now with each region, so there is something called region identifier. So now when I logged in, so here you can see US Ashburn 1. So this is the region identifier. All right, US Ashburn 1. So by that you can see what region I'm using. It's a US East region. Okay, and then we have region location, a region key. They have given one key to the region. It's a kind of a code given to that region. So for Ashburn, the key is IAD. Okay, and then we have something called realm key. So what is realm? So we can group multiple regions together to form a realm. It's a grouping of two regions. So here we can see that we have OC1. So wherever you can see OC1, so that's a group. So all these are into one group. So what means by group is whenever two regions are in a same realm, so they can share the data. So if my one server is placed in Ashburn, another server is in Phoenix, so they can interact with each other. Why? Because they are into same realm. So now we have here OC20, which is for Serbia. So now if someone has one compute machine, one computer system in Serbia, so they cannot access the system in Singapore. Why? Because they are into different realms. Okay, so region is what? Region is nothing but a geographical region, geographical area. Okay, then we have availability domain. So what is availability domain? It's a physical data center. Physical. Region is a logical grouping. Availability domain is a physical data centers. All right. And then we see that in few regions, we have more than one physical data center like here. So if you see in US East, so how many availability domains we have? We have 3 availability domains. That means 3 physical data center. And these availability domains are separated by few miles. So they are separate from each other. They are miles apart because these are physical data centers. So here you can see in Phoenix we have 3, in Ashburn we have 3, and others we have 1, and sometime here also we can have others as 3. All right. So now how to decide which region should I choose? So there is a criteria for that also. So now today I need some machine, I compute system. The first is your constraints, government constraints, sovereign constraints. So now I want that my data should reside only within my country. It should not go somewhere else because availability domains are physical data center. They have system, they have devices. So whenever you place the data, they reside on that. So now what I want that my data should reside in India only. So what should happen? What should I decide? That either I can choose India West or India South. So that's a location constraint that I have put because of my data rules. So that's the first aspect. Second is proximity. Proximity, or you can say the distance between your user base and your devices. So today my entire user base in Mumbai, and I have my data center in Mumbai. So my choice should be to put my devices in this data center. Why? Because there is the location, all the users are very near to this data center. So there will be less traffic. Okay. So that's the second thing. And third thing is service availability. So now I want some service. I want to rent out some service. So there are few services which only few regions have. Okay, so in that case, I may need to go with that region only. Correct? Like we have few services like Apple TV. Correct? So those are based on in US only. So in that case, I should use only US data centers. So these are the three things by which you decide the choice of your region. Okay, so now there is one question which is difference between OCI and OIC. So OCI is Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Okay, it's a platform which gives you list of all the services, storage services, network services, compute services, firewalls, VPNs. Okay, and in that OIC is just one of the service. OIC is integration survey, which helps you integrate two applications, two systems. But OIC is based like it's deployed in OCI only, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. It's a actual infrastructure that we have. Our servers. So our servers are placed in data centers. And how we are accessing that? Over the internet. And how and why we can access? Because of virtualization. Okay, so they have given the access to us. So OCI is a complete picture, and OIC is one of the service from OCI. Okay, so now we see that in regions we have availability domains. These are like physical data center. Now within each availability domain, so there are three things, fault domains, three fault domains in each availability domain. Okay, so what is realm? Realm is grouping of two regions or multiple regions. Okay, so it's a logical collection of regions. We call it as realm. So like normally we have our URL as cloud.oracle.com and then region equal to region identifier. That's for normal regions. And for dedicated regions, so this should be the URL. So by looking at the URL, you can know that whether it's a dedicated region or it's a common region. And also regions can be commercial or government. Okay, so realm is logical collection of the regions. And here is complete picture of OCI. OCI is as regions are basically the geographical regions. So suppose we have three regions, region 1, region 2, and region 3. It can be Mumbai, Hyderabad, and it can be like, for example, US. So now one region can have one availability domain or it can have multiple availability domain, like in this example. So here we can see that one region is having three availability domains. Examples are like US Ashburn, US Phoenix, East. Now within each availability domain, we have logical data centers. We call it as fault domains. So for each availability domain, we have 3 fault domains. So these are logically separated. That means they do not share single point of failure. Okay, so now you understood what is region. It's a geographical region, availability domain, physical data center, and then logical data center, we call it as fault domain. So any question? So yeah, we have few services like AI services, Gen AI services in OCI. So OCI provides AI services also. And even in now with the in latest version of OIC, it has the capability of AI in itself. So we will see few AI capabilities in OIC as well. Okay, but if you want to use a separate Gen AI or other AI service, so we have dedicated service in OCI. Okay, guys, any question?
Sir, what are the roles and responsibilities into this?
Roles and responsibility in OIC?
Yes.
Yeah, sure, we will look into that. But for now, we are just focusing on fundamental blocks.
Okay.
So here we are just discussing like what is region, what is availability domain, what is fault domain. So when we deep dive into OIC, you will see that we have in OIC, we have multiple roles. Okay, and even if you like, if you learn OIC, what kind of roles you can go for, correct? So are you
Correct,
asking
sir.
for roles after learning OIC or like roles in OIC?
Roles and responsibility means what are the market what are the
Okay,
market
market.
demand and
Correct,
what
correct,
are the
correct. Sure.
jobs there
Yeah, they are
and
like
what are the opportunities.
yeah,
Sorry.
sure, sure. So like there are like multiple opportunities in OIC and pay scale is very, very good.
Guys, currently we are pursuing a lot of opportunities, okay? There is a huge demand.
Okay, 1 minute. Let me show you one if I can. Okay, so let me show you one image. So it's like a 2019, but you can search for the latest one. So it's a Gartner's Magic Quadrant report. So Gartner is a organization which performs these kind of uh, you can say these surveys. They perform surveys and they give the listing. So in that Magic Quadrant, so they have 4 quadrants. They have challengers, they have leaders, they have niche players, and they have visionaries. So niche players are the ones who are like just now entered into the market. Okay, and these are the challengers, leaders, and visionaries. So now you can see that in integration platform. So Oracle is into leaders section. Okay, so OIC is one of the leaders in Gartner's Magic Quadrant report. So by that way, you can see that yes, you are learning the right thing. So this is the best of the market. Okay, and the list for OIC jobs is like plenty of jobs you have across the globe. Okay, so I have not seen, like, I've not come in, like, in my experience, I have not seen someone who has good knowledge of OIC and still looking for a job. Some or other day, they will definitely land into the jobs, and that's a best bet.
Um, do you provide placement opportunities?
Yes, we do have placement assistance facility. Whoever is speaking. Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, yes, Sriram, yeah. So don't worry, guys. So like after once we complete, so we will have a quick session for placements and job things. All right. Okay, so this is the OCI fundamental block. So we have regions, we have availability domains, we have fault domains in each availability domain. Okay, so 3 fault domains are there in each availability domain. Okay, so now whenever you are subscribing to a region, so the limit is if you are using a free tier, okay, so you can only subscribe to one region. But if you are using a paid version, so you can go for n number of regions. So these are the few regions that we have: Ashburn, Phoenix, London. Okay, so this is kind of a notification you will get if you are using a free tier. Okay, so now like in OCI, so everything is a resource. So like you are a source of your company. So how company identifies you? Okay, through your employee ID, correct? Similar to that, in OCI, we call it as OCID, Oracle Cloud Identifier. So this is the structure of OCID. So it starts with OCID 1, the version. Then you have the resource type. So for example, this is the OCID of user. Then you have the realm. Here we are using OC1. And then there are like few things which are for future purpose, like region and future use. And then we have the unique ID. So here you can see the OCID. This is the OCID for one of the user. So OC1 is a commercial realm. OC2 is a government. OC3 is a federal, and OC20 is for Serbia. Okay, so each thing in OCI is a resource and it has the OCID. All right, so this is the structure of the OCID. Okay, so whenever we use OCI, so we have IAM services. We call it as Identity and Access Management Services. In OCI, at the base level, root level, we have users. So we assign user to a group or instances. So this section is who request. That means who is requesting. Either instances can request for some access, some resource, or user can access. And then we have permissions. Like what kind of access can be granted to these users? Okay, so what kind of permissions that we can grant? And then for permissions, so they have written policies. And policies are written over the compartment. So what is compartment? Compartment is just like a area in OCI, which hold these resources, virtual machine, network, storage, VCN, and many more. So this part, so on the left side, this part is call it as, is used for authentication. We call it as auth n, authentication. And this right side, we call it as auth z, which is for authorization. So whenever someone logs in to OCI, so this is basically authentication. But when someone accesses some resource by the use of policies, so we call it as authorization. Okay, so this comes under IAM, Identity and Access Management. All right, so let me 1 minute, please. And whenever you are working with the OIC, so these are the supported browser. You can use Google Chrome, Safari, Firefox, or Microsoft Edge. But the recommended one is Google Chrome only. All right. So now let me take you to the console and give you a brief idea of OCI console. Okay, so this is OCI console that we have. Okay, and from this web page, from this application, we will access all the resources. So here we have the navigation menu. So here you can see that you have compute resources, you have storage resources, you have block storage, file storage, object storage. We have networking services. We have AI database. We have normal databases in which we have MySQL HeatWave, NoSQL. We have services for analytics and AI. We have developer services. In developer services, you can see application integration. Okay, so this is the integration. From here, we access it. Then we have IAM services, identity and security. Okay, so these are the services in identity and security. We have observability and management. So these are the services. We have hybrid services. We have migration and data disaster recovery services. We have services for billing and cost management, governance and administration, and there is a marketplace that we have. All right. So whenever we want to work with OIC, So what we need to do, we need to first create the instance for OIC. So let's see how to create one OIC instance. So we will go to navigation menu, click on developer services. Then under the application integration, we go to integration. Okay, so here we have, so for now, I will simply create my OIC integration instance, and later in other days, we will discuss all these things. Okay, so just follow along like how to create your instance. So you will go to this integration instances. In that, you will create instance by clicking on this button, create instance. Okay, so here you have to give the name for your OIC. Like I will say OIC dev. And then you have to choose the edition. So we have 3 editions: standard, enterprise, and healthcare. Okay, so what is the difference? So in standard, you will have like normal adapters, normal functionalities. With enterprise, you get enterprise adapters. Like you are using Oracle Fusion. So now you want to create one integration with that. So for that, you need adapter. So adapter is just like a plugin. So like, for example, you have your pen drive, USB drive, you want to copy your data. So whenever you connect your USB to your system, so first it installs the drivers, correct? So same thing, we have it in OIC, we call it as adapters. Okay, so in standard, you have standard adapters. In enterprise, you have standard plus enterprise. And then we have healthcare. So in healthcare, you have more features. So all enterprise addition features plus access to integration with healthcare applications. Okay, so you will choose the addition. So let's choose like enterprise. Then you choose the shape. So either it can be development or it can be production. So the difference is that, so production will get the updates 2 weeks later from the development. So suppose today I got a new feature in my OIC. So if I'm using development shape, so I will have that feature. If I'm using production, I will not have it. So only after 2 weeks I will have it, so that I get some time to test it in development instance. Okay, so that's called the shape. So you can choose production for production instances and development for development instances. Then you have the license type. So sometime we already have the licenses within our organization. We are using some other middleware application. In that we have the license. So if you already purchased the license for your one of the middleware, you can use it here. But if you don't have the license, you can subscribe to new OIC license. So in OIC, we have something called message packs. So what is message pack? It has 5,000 messages in one pack. Okay, but if I choose the healthcare, so in that you can see that one message pack has 20K messages per hour. Okay, so it can transmit up to 20K message, 20,000 messages per hour. But if I use enterprise or standard, it has only 5K messages per hour. Because whenever you run your integration, it consumes messages. So what is a message? Message is one packet of size 50 KB. Okay, so for 150 KB transferred, it will take it as one message. And one message pack, if you have enterprise license, it has 5,000 messages per hour. So you can increase the message pack size also. And you can go up to 12. So idea here is you always start with the lower one. After that, after some point in time, if you feel that I need more messages, then you can come to the console and increase it. Because with each package size, so cost is associated. Okay, so let's see what is the cost. So for that, we have cost estimator in OCI. So suppose I'm using integration service. Okay, application integration. So like I'm using enterprise license and I'm transferring 1000 messages, 100 MB I'm processing. So let me calculate the cost for 1 hour. Okay, so if you use OIC for 1 hour for one message pack, the cost will be this much. Okay, so this is the cost estimator. I will put the link in the chat. By that way, you can calculate the pricing for your OIC. Okay, so you fill these details, you fill the name, choose your edition, the shape and pack, and then click on create. So it will take some time. So here you can see I have one instance with the name OIC dev. Version is integration 3. State is creating. So you can click here and view the other details. And here you can see OCID. Okay, if I copy this one. So here you can see the OCID, which is OCID 1. Then this is the resource type, integration instance, OC1, IAL, IAD, this is the region, and then this is the unique identifier. So this is the OCID for my integration instance that I've just created. Okay, go back. So it will take some time for creation. So till now, any question? So we are almost done for the day. So just that this creation would be done. So you can go to the other section or even you can refresh the page to refresh the status here. So it is creating. So here we get the design time URL and this is the runtime URL. So the question is, how's Oracle Cloud is different from Azure and Amazon Cloud? So see, like those are also the cloud vendors, and Oracle is also the cloud vendor. So there may be few services which Amazon is providing and which Oracle is providing. Like OIC is only with Oracle. Okay, and I also showcased the Gartner report, so you can see that Oracle is into the leaders section. So guys, if you have any question, you can put it in the chat. So another question is like, what companies work with OIC and OCI for current market requirements? So there are like n number of companies. So most of the companies are now using ERP, and with Oracle, if they use ERP, so they tend to use the OCI thing also and OIC as well. So question is, what is VBCS? VBCS is Visual Builder Cloud Service. So it helps us to create like web application or mobile applications. So OIC is for creation of your integrations. VBCS is for creation of web applications. And OPA or PCS, Process Cloud Service, that is for creation of like workflows. So what are the roles and responsibility of OIC associate or developers? So if you are a OIC developer, so your job would be to create integration, to monitor integration, to maintain integrations. Okay, so those are the kind of jobs that you have. So suppose you are using Oracle Fusion Cloud. So now there is a third party system which is sending you the invoices. So now you want to automate that process. So they will be sending the files with the help of OIC. You will be creating AP invoices in Oracle Fusion. So for that you have to create integration in OIC. Okay, so OIC using only Oracle PL SQL projects? No, no, no. So you can use like a Fusion projects also. You can connect to n number of systems. You can connect to Jira Cloud. You can connect to Salesforce. Even you can send emails. You can connect to Gmail. You can connect to this Outlook also. So for all those things, we have adapters in OIC. Okay, so now we can see that our integration is active. So now what we can do, we can open the console. Either you can copy the URL from here or you can click here, open console. Yeah, sure, we will. We will provide you. Operation support and operation management. Yeah, we have various roles in OIC. You can be a developer, you can be a support person. Okay. You can be like, if you know OCI, you can be OCI administrator, you can OCI uh, support person. So in that case, your job would be to creation of all these resources in OCI. If you are a developer, so your job would be to monitor or to create new integrations. Okay, so this is the homepage of our OIC. Okay, and here you can see the name of OIC, which is OIC Dev. So this is the identifier, and this is IAS for our region. Okay, and this is development because we choose the shape as dev. So this is the resource identifier for our integration instance. So here you can see integration instance equal to OIC dev ID and this thing. So this is the resource identifier for our integration. Okay, so here we have the navigation menu. So I will not go into deep into all these navigation. So that will be for the next session. But in today's session, so we have just created this integration instance. So now we have pay per users model. So now I've created this integration instance. It is in active state. So now each hour the billing would be calculated and then I will be charged for this thing. So now what you can do, if you are using your own thing, you have to stop it. You have to stop the instance. Otherwise, the billing cycle will continue and you'll be getting charged for each hour. All right, so this is the home page, and from here we will start creating our integrations. You have to go to design. In that you have this integration. So in this section, you will come and you will click on create, and then you will start creating your integrations. And these are the adapters that we have. So you can use these adapter to connect to various systems. You can connect to Adobe, you can connect to Amazon S3, AQ, Advanced Queues. You can connect to Azure Active Directory, DocuSign you can connect to Facebook, GitHub, Google Calendar, Gmail, Jira Cloud, JD Edward Enterprise Cloud, Marketo, Dynamics, Microsoft Dynamics. So there are like various numbers of adapters. We have total list of like 116 adapters. So if you are using like Oracle Fusion, so you can use these type of adapters. Okay, so the list is long. So you can connect to Workday. So you can create the integration for all these kind of adapters by using these adapters. So Oracle ERP Cloud, this is the adapter that we will be using to connect to our Oracle Fusion Cloud. So if you're using EBS, so you can use this Oracle e-business suite adapter. So for OIC, if you learn OIC, so you will have a good good career, and the pay scale is also really good in OIC. So any question? Otherwise, I will stop the recording and then you can ask. Okay, so let me stop the instance as well.